FSF PopCast live show.
Well, hello there, kids and cadets, and welcome to another sweaty and yet blurry evening over at the Wass household.
You know, the podcast just can't handle the awesome that's over here, all right?
Or the heat is just blowing everything out of proportion.
Or the I moved, and it's like, oh, you're too glary. I can't understand what's happening.
It thinks you're speaking in cursive.
Well, it saw the pale white Irish legs and did the
no. All right.
I think.
Anywho, we got people waiting in the wings. We got the John Wass, the producer John. Hello there. Hello. Hi, John. Jesse is in the house. Hello, Jesse. We were on time this week.
See what happens when you let me back on the show, John?
And there's like weeks off in between where we were lazy and not doing shows. Yeah, absolutely. Brandon, lazy. We weren't lazy. No, we weren't lazy. What is up, Brandon? So yeah, guys, we have a really cool waiting in. Let's see. Hanara agrees that you're just too awesome. Awesome.
Whoop whoop. That's my girl.
The camera to focus properly. Before we jump into anything tonight, we just want to make sure that we say thank you to our show partners, because this show is not possible without them or viewers like you. So we want to say thank you to you guys for watching or listening to this. And then also we want to make sure that you go pay attention. Now, these are all links down in the show notes down below for Bones Coffee Company. If you go to Bones Coffee Company and use the code FSF Podcast, you'll get 10% off your order. If you go to Idea Farm, formerly TCT, they have some awesome nerdy merch there for you. If you use the code FSF15, you will get 15% off your order. And then, of course, Level Up Sabers. This is the Level Up Sabers studio, and we are thrilled to work with Master Allen. He has some amazing deals on lightsabers, especially right now. So if you click the link in the show notes down below, you'll go there. You'll get a lightsaber for a discount, and then that helps us keep going. So buy a saber, buy some nerd merch, buy some coffee, help support the show, and let us continue to be silly online.
And do not forget, even though the world is on fire, it is never too hot for coffee. You can always add ice to it.
Absolutely. I did that this morning. Me without coffee in the morning is not a good idea. So, now, I've been told I get a little bit cranky. I don't know if that's true.
A little bit.
Just say real quick, guys, if you haven't yet already, and this is also encouraged down in the show notes down below, but if you haven't gone to our website, fsfpopcast.com, and clicked on the contact section and signed up for our free loot every month, then you don't have a chance to win this awesome Blu-ray right here. This is Landman Season 1. This is on Blu-ray. We have a few copies of this, and has over 85 minutes of bonus content you did not see on TV. Or you also can't win Yellowstone Season 5 Part 2. This also has a whole bunch of stuff on the inside, but it's a really thick package in there, and there's like a map or something or rather. Anyway, you can't win that either, but those are going to be coming up at the end of the month here, and you'll have an opportunity to win those. And the great thing is, not only if you sign up right now, not only are you entered for this giveaway, you'll be entered for every single giveaway moving forward. You'll have chances to win multiple times. So if you don't win this one, don't give up. Once we have your email in the system, you have an opportunity to win multiple times.
Once we have your email, you are never safe.
Anyway, but yeah. All right.
Security number and your bank account numbers and nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right. We have, like I said, we have some guests waiting for us in the wings. So let's get them on the show so we can start our rambling and let them do all the heavy lifting because, well, they're better looking than us anyway. So, well, I'm talking about me. I never talk about you.
Send it. You said
live today or tape before a live studio audience. Granzier, we are definitely live today. Oh, hey, we got a first time watcher. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to our insanity. And we're sorry for any of the pain that Kathleen's about to put you through, because surely it wouldn't come from me. Anyway, and on that note, before she stabs me visually through the monitors, let's welcome our guest, the one, the only. You feel better because he is Phil Better. Welcome.
Hello.
And then
how are you doing?
And then also we have Stephanie Studer in the background. Hello, Stephanie.
Hello. Thanks for having me, y'all, especially for this topic.
Holy cow, we have another. Look at this. We got another first timer. I like first
What?
timers.
He
Welcome.
has to be here. He's engaged to me.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I mean, because you had to be there, not because you're engaged.
See,
to
that's
Stephanie.
the only reason that John listens to is because he's married to me. So it happens.
Yes, absolutely. One pride. Go Lions. All right. Detroit Lions, big Lions fans. All right. Another victim. Absolutely. Another victim. All right. So, I'm just punching things over here. All right. So Stephanie and Phil are, Phil's a returning guest. He's been here several times. And Phil is, when I say that he is our mentor, our Sherpa, our mogul when it comes to all things podcast related, there is a reason why I say that. When Phil talks, I listen. So
Tim,
That doesn't happen often.
what, did I listen?
Yeah.
Is it just me or did Tim freeze?
No.
I might have froze a little bit.
Might have for a second there.
I might have froze a little bit. But if we ignore it, we just keep pushing forward, then we don't care.
Exactly.
We act like it didn't happen.
It never happened.
That's
So
just
Phil,
life.
why don't you tell them about yourself and how awesome you are and why they should be listening to all things you do?
Oh God, no, don't. I hate promoting myself. I'm Phil Better, the podcast mogul. I'm here to help coaches or podcasters take their podcast to the next level. Either if you're running it for your business, how to generate leads and create a content creation machine. I think the top proper terms. But if you're a podcaster, I'm going to teach you how to monetize your podcast and grow it so that you can make an income from it like I do. That's pretty much all it is. I have a whole bunch of shows. But the main show I want you to listen to is Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast, because that's how I learned to be a digital entrepreneur. So I could stop being an employee. So yeah, that's me. Nothing
Perfect.
special.
Excellent. And I suggest that if Phil talks, you guys should listen to. So, and then also we have Stephanie. Stephanie, tell us about Good Morning Evildoers. I freaking love this, by the way.
So the elevator pitch is that Good Morning Evildoers is the daily announcements from Winifred, the head of HR, at an evil multinational corporation in a volcano lair. So if you are an HR professional and you're employing, cannibals and necromancers and robots and homunculi, there's some challenges there. But she rallies, and she has a tiny dog named Coelacanth, and shenanigans ensue.
Perfect. That is a great elevator pitch. I can't even talk. All right. Well, cool. Well, I'm excited to have you both here. Now, guys, for both Phil and for Stephanie, there's links down below in the show notes so you guys can go find them. I have included Phil's Facebook page so you can find him and follow him and see everything he's up to. And then there's also a link for Good Morning Evildoers down in the show notes down below. I included the one from Apple Podcasts, but of course you can find them on wherever you get your favorite audio podcasts from. So don't feel like if you see Apple Podcasts that it's only Apple Podcasts. It's not only Apple Podcasts. So Granzier says, Steph, is that where we may discuss Satan's robot was the robot servant of the evil Dr. Chikata in the 2015?
I don't see why not. I mean,
sorry, I started laughing halfway through that, but yeah.
Robots and evil doctors are kind of my jam.
There you go. Perfect.
Coelacanth for the
win.
Yes.
All right. John says, I feel like there might be a conflict of interest or unsettling synergy between cannibals and necromancers.
You'd think that, but the real problem is between the mad scientists and the necromancers, because the necromancers require less budget. Graveyard dirt is cheap, but the mad scientists, plutonium is expensive. It's a whole thing.
In a completely unrelated but somewhat related note.
Oh my God, your podcast already sounds amazing.
Thank you.
I know, right? But because we're talking about necromancy, this popped up into my head. I saw a TikTok the other day where a guy's standing there. He's at a graveyard and he's digging. And he says, hold on, we're about to do an unboxing.
Wow.
I was like, okay. But that was
I
as
feel
far
like
as I
though
got.
the necromancers and the cannibals could have like an actual
There should be a
relatively good
partnership.
working
Right.
relationship. I mean, if the cannibals, don't eat the whole thing, then the necromancers still have something to work with.
Then they can just get rid of that cold shoulder.
Love it.
Absolutely love it. All right,
I'm gonna
guys.
leave because I can't top these jokes.
No, you stay right there, mister.
So we brought Phil and Stephanie on the show tonight because we thought it'd be fun to talk with them about this topic. Now, there's tons of movies out there every day that, especially right now, it seems like Hollywood's rebooting everything. And or it's either that or it's getting a sequel. So we thought it would be fun tonight to talk about movies that need to be rebooted, but movies that we'd like to see them do it in an animation style. So we gave them some very strict guidelines. No, we didn't. And told them what they had to bring to the table. No, we didn't. And we told them that we were going to talk for many, many hours. And no, we didn't. Anyway, long story short, we each have a couple movies that we're going to bring to the table. Stephanie is going for the A+. She has like a whole encyclopedia.
She has runner-ups. She has like 8 movies that she quoted. Then there's runner-ups and honorable mentions. Like, there is no sucking up or a gold star in podcasting.
There's always a gold star.
She's
It's like somebody trying to win D&D. You don't win D&D. You can't win podcasting.
She does. I feel like you do. That's your goal.
And Jesse from Crusher Convo is not wrong. Phil is my podcast Sherpa. Jesse is my Star Trek Sherpa. When I need to know something about Star Trek, I go to Crusher Convo podcast, and Jesse is going to lead me in the right direction every single time. All right. So we can do this one of a couple different ways. We can go round table, or we can just jump in there. I think that it might be fun just to go round table, and we'll start with our guests. And because Stephanie has so many, I kind of want her to start. It's just so I can see what she's doing.
Well, let's segue on from Beverly Crusher then, because my first option, Gates McFadden did the choreography for the big ballroom dance sequence, and that is Labyrinth.
Yes.
I would love to see an animated reboot or sequel to Labyrinth because it's fundamentally a very weird movie.
Yeah.
Plus, it would be a way to get over the unfortunate loss of Mr. Bowie.
That's true.
Whom we all miss. Drinks up for David.
Yeah, because Labyrinth was a Muppet thing, basically, right?
It was done with.
I'm making sure this is the one I'm thinking. That one has David Bowie in it, and
yeah, you're right.
Okay, all right. I'm just making sure that I'm getting the right movie in my head because I wanted to make. Yeah, okay. I would be okay with that. I think that's the type of movie that would actually do really well in an animation setting.
Yeah,
I think so too, and it gives you an opportunity to Gates McFadden. It gives you an opportunity to really expand on the lore because I love lore. Give me background. Give me little bits and pieces. Kathleen is the participation trophy.
She's our participation trophy.
He
John
is the
says
trophy.
players can win D&D or any RPG by making the DM bury their face in their hands and take a minute to rethink their lives. I've done that so many times in our Star Wars RPG. I'm so proud of myself.
See, I make my husband do that on a regular basis, which is part of the reason that I am the trophy wife, but it's a participation trophy. I tried.
I was gonna ask Stephanie, who would you have voice the Goblin? Even though Chris stole my question before I got a chance.
So walk with me here because we're not going to see him on screen, right? So it can be any iteration of any image. I'm going to float Frank Langella.
Ooh.
He's classic. He's done Dracula. He's done Ninth Gate. He's got great chops. And that is something that he could do to be slinky and surreptitious and sexy without having to, be on camera doing all of that. Just stand in the booth and be awesome.
Yeah, there's like the lore in Labyrinth itself is huge. Like for those who are listening to the audio version of this, a question is asked by Grandizer12. I believe I'm pronouncing that incorrectly.
You are,
anyways.
yeah.
Labyrinth, well, it could be dark or have to be based on the other kids / babies he took that were not saved. So we can look at each episode can be a different baby that was taken and not saved. So you build up this army, which then can culminate in the end of the season with them trying to overthrow the Goblin King or something. Like there's thousands of different opportunities for this show, and it can be dark, it can be light. Oh my god, you picked a real winner there, Steph. I'm jealous.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's a good start. I like this. We all now have so much to carry on to.
I have to follow up with that, don't I?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do, Phil. That's what you got for me, bud.
Oh god. All right, so I'm going to go. All right, thanks. The individual. Sorry, I didn't want to do anything there. The individual said that I got it close enough, so I'm happy with that. Mine is going to go to a movie that I saw in the early 90s, but it's an 80s movie called The Last Starfighter.
Ooh, yes.
Right? But here's the thing. It's Alex is coming back. He's mentoring a new generation because we got like Twitch streamers and all this type of gaming, and gaming so huge. We can reiterate like it is back in today's time, so it's like relevant. There's a new Twitch challenge or something like that, streaming challenge game that comes off similar to the arcade, and then Alex comes back, and you can get high speed fights like Voltron or Trigun, could be the animation style. It is perfect for it because we haven't had a good US quote unquote or North American based star show in a while.
All right.
That's solid. That's solid.
I like that. I'm a big fan of Last Starfighter. And so yes, I would definitely watch that, and having a cool sequel, if you will, would be really nice. That's one of those ones it's one of those ones that deserves a sequel, but it's kind of hard to get that storyline going. So I think that's a really nice one to do it. Going back to, I think this is going back to your Stephanie, your choice there with Labyrinth. Are you doing that as a prequel or a sequel or just a reboot from beginning?
All of the above. Give me all of the Goblin content.
All right.
Like this is what. So here's the thing. Disney, MGM, and all the Sony or whatever studios and Warner Brothers, I guess, right now, like they all have their own platform to stream, and they have so much IP that there's just doing nothing that actually can make them some residual money. Like animation, yes, it's somewhat expensive if you're going high grade, like with the CGI and all this, paying all the animators. However, you can keep them short. Like, look, we know animation does great because One Piece is going off for like 7,000 episodes right now. So if we have rich lore. Like Starfighter can do great as an animator, or even like Labyrinth can do great. Saturday morning cartoons, like who wouldn't want that? Like bring back Saturday morning cartoons. You have these animated movies. It's our generation. It's the elder millennials to the early Gen Zers. They had that
big
Saturday
bowl of sugar cereal.
Yeah, well now it's healthier because parents.
We need the fiber content.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. It's like streaming service destroyed that communal feeling that we used to have because we knew everybody was going to watch on Saturday morning. They're going to sit down, watch I'm Canadian, so we had YTV, right? So everybody's going to watch YTV. So you had like Yu-Gi-Oh, you had Pokemon, you had Beyblade and something else after school. But now kids don't have that anymore, right? They're losing it because we're drop all the seasons all at once. No, like I believe like once a week drop, or like multiple times a week drop your episodes so that you get this viewing experience.
Yeah, more than 8 episodes.
Well, they're going to the UK version. Like if you've noticed, the UK shows their series each of their series is not longer than 8 episodes, and there's a reason, because the BBC and those companies don't have a large budget. However, you can with animated, you can get them longer because you can go, okay, well, we can reuse these cells because they're doing the same thing. It's going to be, I would love for that to come back. And I think it's going to take us getting the Gen Xers out of positions of powers. No offense to any Gen Xers. We're probably all great. However, when it comes to creativity, you guys are really bad. You don't know what the next generation wants. You're still selling to the boom.
Well, it's nice having Phil on the show tonight.
I used my powers.
Listen, I have nothing against Gen Xers. I'm close to a Gen Xer. Okay, I'm just saying, they're not all creative.
They're just salty.
You're salty. Get off the lose. Let the younger people take over, and I think more creativity needs to be. Anyways, I'm off my soapbox. I've done mine. I did Starfighter, so now it's Kathleen or it's Tim.
Kind of pulling off of that as well. Looking at the animation can do well and does do well. Critical Role can prove that. I mean, this went from we're going to stream
Vox
on YouTube
Machina,
and Twitch to they've got Vox Machina and now they're working on Mighty Nine. That yes, this is a thing that they know that we want, and this is content for adults. This is not children's cartoons, and they need to stop thinking that all animation is for children. Because it's not.
Exactly, yeah. And Vox Machina proves that in the first 30 seconds of the first episode.
Oh, I know.
You're going to see some dwarf wiener.
Yeah,
Sorry. That's just kind of the way it works.
He's a gnome.
Okay, I'm sorry. He's a gnome. And
racist.
He's a tripod. That's what he is.
At that height, he sure is.
Damn.
So
don't insult the gnomes.
What? They're not tripods?
No, Tim trying to call them dwarves. Sorry, I play a lot of gnome characters. I've got some spunk. They could do She-Ra better than the reboot, which to me appealed to the younger. I don't know.
It's hard because you can't. You have to when you're dealing with those type of IPs. If it's already a cartoon, you have to go with the next generation. You lose out as an adult. We lose out of, we can love the original, but the new age content's not going to be for us. If they make content for traumatized. The internet when it was young was wild.
No. That's a no. Yeah. Happy Tree Friends is a no, John.
Yeah, I'm going to say no to it, and I don't even.
Your daughter's going to learn a whole lot of new stuff with Happy Tree Friends.
Yeah, but it's like if it's animation for kids already, when we were kids, it's for kids. It's not for you anymore. If it's adultly oriented shows turned animated, yeah, those are going to be great. Make them animated. Make them the Saturday night cartoon nights, because we ain't going after 30. You ain't going out to the club. You sitting at home watching, Netflix.
9:30 at a Friday, I'm sitting there watching Netflix. So it is what it is.
Once I'm home, I am home.
Go back out.
Bras off. I am not going back out. It's not
Netflix and nap.
Me too.
Netflix and nap.
Yeah. Me too. Just on a side note, here for Grands here. So the thing for me anyway, for these reboots of like She-Ra, and they also did He-Man and Masters of the Universe, is that the problem is now as an adult going back in and watching this and watching these reboots, I have a very specific memory and mindset of what He-Man was growing up. Mm-hmm. And so it's hard to watch the secondary generation, these remakes of some of these shows, because that is so much like if with G.I. Joe, that was when they did the movies, that was going from the animation to the live action.
That's where you have to separate yourself from it and remember this isn't being made for you now.
Right. But that's a very hard thing to do.
It is. This is I want my kid to know this. Here, you watch this version of it, and then we'll get you to the older stuff too.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to get into some of that stuff, just because of that mindset of this is what it was. Mark Hamill did do a great job as Skeletor for sure. Let's see.
Language, try to make characters sound cool and hip, and instead of just talking normal. Yeah.
I can
get that on some level.
Not wrong. All right, Kathleen.
So
What you
looking
got?
at this, and when I was looking and I'm thinking about it, I'm like bouncing all of these ideas in my head. And then I realized that what I told you guys before show, some of my options are just straight up vindictive, because what they are doing by taking cartoons and making them live action is they are taking perfectly good movies and they are messing with them. Stop touching my toys. Leave them alone.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I've decided I want to take their stuff and I want to animate it. So I was looking at it with what would happen if you animated Casablanca? What would happen if you animated The Godfather? Or Psycho? Or Rear Window? Like, go for the classic Hollywood and animate their stuff and see what happens.
You know what? I like the Godfather idea.
The Godfather as an animation would be fantastic.
Like you do it in the old, like kind of like I have one for one of them. I did my spare ones. I'm not going to say what it is, but it takes the aesthetic of Batman the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
You can make
Yeah.
Godfather that style.
That's sort of
you can have always like what's that? There's a film that you can put on that makes it look like old timey.
Oh, that like sort of sepia type, like
sepia, yeah, like a sepia tone to it to give it like a bit like when they throw it back into the old times. I think, yeah, The Godfather would make an incredible animated series because, again, don't have to worry about people growing old. You know, there's like AI issues aside there, but you can go back in time, do the young versions. Oh, that The Godfathers would be. Casablanca, I'm not too sure of. I just don't see how. Yeah, Crusher Convo. Yes, Godfather is a noir type movie. Yes, animated, perfect.
Yeah.
But
like, I think the idea of like an animated Psycho or an animated Rear Window would also be really fun.
Yeah, Psycho for sure, because you can see the evolution from youth to. They did the TV show, but like, let's be honest, it wasn't always the greatest,
right?
But like, you could do the evolution. You can see the murders, kind of like a Dexter Dexter show. What kind of animation style would you use on the Psycho?
On Psycho, I don't know. I would almost. Oof. Again, I feel like
honestly, what would be kind of cool, I think. If you've watched it's more of an animation style or anime style rather, but if you've watched Star Wars Visions, the very first episode, that's all in black and white.
I was kind of thinking that sort of black and white,
a black and white style of that, like, and make it more noir would be amazing.
Okay, but you'd also have to have because like with the original Psycho, having the blood in the bathtub, if you suddenly had just the blood in color in the animation, how creepy would that be?
Yeah,
that would be
like in the Star Wars Vision episode, everything is in that very first episode of season 1, everything's in black and white except for when they ignite their lightsabers, and those are colored. And that's actually really very cool.
I have to agree with so for the audience that's watching, listening, Crusher Convo is going to be my new favorite Star Trek podcast.
She's amazing.
But they mentioned Alfred Hitchcock as an animated would be cool. Birds was their favorite. Yeah, I think any of Hitchcock's films can be redone as animation, and it would be superb.
Man Who Knew Too Much would be amazing.
See, but like with Psycho, I'd almost want it to be like flip book. Like almost like when you have the pictures in the book and you do the flip book pages, I'd almost want it to be like that sort of like jagged, like
for sure.
If they do the Hitchcock films as animated, I'm wondering, would you guys keep them? Because would you keep them all black and white, or would you keep the color? Because with Psycho having the blood just be that red, like that would be just like every episode only has one color in it. Would you like?
Ooh, you could get real Junji Ito, especially with Vertigo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Into his sort of bonkers, askew style. Yeah. I think they're.
But I feel like too, you could do like if you did like an Alfred Hitchcock's Presents you could do like one color per episode, but then like maybe it's like they start like rainbowing and you get a little more color each time, and then whatever the finale of that season is then suddenly in color. Would be
that's genius.
Like Oz with murder.
Yes.
Yeah. Arngrim says they just did Predator Killer of Killers. That's animated. As an Alien fan, I'd love to see the original story in that universe. That would be a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun.
I feel like there's so many things that you could get away with more with animation.
Yeah.
Than trying to just do CGI or whatever. I mean, like, the book series that I currently am reading has a lot of different type of humanoid characters. There are some with wings. There are some that are lupine. There are mer people. It's like that is not stuff that you can do with humans, but you can with animation.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I would love to see more adult-oriented animation studios out there. Because once you get one or two that like we already have it, like you guys said, with Critical Role, but they're not mainstream. They're not released in theater.
Right.
And if I think we can get an adult-oriented animated movie that's not a stupid comedy or over-the-top grotesqueness, but something that kind of harkens back to being like going to the movies again and having a fun time as a kid.
Right.
I think it would kill, and then we'll see like a flood of them. And I think you get two kind of blockbusters that blow away. You'll see a flood of them.
And I agree with you that we need the adult content without it being stupid. Because like Sausage Party was an adult animated movie, but that's dumb.
It's stoner humor. It's toilet room humor. We need something like honestly, like Critical Role taking one of their full seasons and making it into a 2-hour movie in essence, which would be really super hard because there's so much progression and so much storytelling that would be lost. But I think there's a chance that they could do like a really great movie theatrical release, and I think. And it would be great. Sorry, Gran just put in World of the Worlds.
Fantastic pick.
I think it was animated. I know it started off as a radio broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it's been animated. I know that it's been done as a movie a couple different times. The last
TV
one
series
was
and a TV series, a British TV series on Netflix.
Oh, really?
I believe it's Netflix or it's Prime, one of the two.
There was War of the Worlds Goliath, which was the animated.
No, Brandon, it is definitely not for kids. Sausage Party is definitely not for kids.
No.
All right, Timmy, you're up. What did you bring to the table?
All right, so first one for me. So this is actually a movie series that I liked the first couple movies, and then I felt that it really, really, really jumped the shark, and it just got very predictable, boring, and not a whole lot of fun, and mostly because I don't like the lead actor. And I typically don't watch anything that he's in, especially because he says family all the time in this movie series. So I would love to see the Fast and the Furious get remade, but there's a very particular starting point, a very particular jump point that it has to go from. I only want to see it if it's from the Tokyo Drift timeline, and it has to be done as an anime.
Has to be. I was about to say it's gotta be. I want to close my eyes and think Tetsuo, Kaneda. Like I need that.
Yeah. So because that story, so if you haven't watched Tokyo Drift, or if you're like, oh, it's Fast and the Furious, it's got Vin Diesel in it, and if you're like me and you don't like Vin Diesel, he's in this movie for like 30 seconds at the tail end. He could have not been there, and his appearance in the movie changes nothing, absolutely nothing, because
it just connects the universe. That's it.
That's it. That's all it does. It connects the storylines. So we don't even really need to have him moving forward. I would like to see from the main protagonist viewpoint in that series, and have him moving forward with his friends that he made throughout all these races and the chases and everything that's happening, and go more for the Fast and the Furious that feels like Need for Speed Underground 2. and just animate that up. And I think that's where that needs to go. That's my first pick.
So I have to say, though, you said we should animate Fast and the Furious, and I'm like, isn't that just Cars?
No.
She's not wrong, but
I mean, although Toe Mater does talk about family a couple times, but
I rather not piss off the guy who has the rights to one of my favorite movie series. So I'm not going to say anything about him. But yeah, I can see. I like the Tokyo Drift.
I would watch the crap out of that, actually. All right, so American Werewolf in London is a great movie. It's very 80s. It's very everything.
Perfect.
But that would be a great animation.
So people who are listening, Grander just asked again with another amazing suggestion. Mentioned American Werewolf in London, the animated series. Beware the moon, lads, and stick to the roads. Stay off the moors.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll stop talking about Alien, but I recommend Alien Monday, a fan animated original story on YouTube. It's an anime-inspired art style. Since Hollywood won't do it, the fans did.
Monday. Let me write that down.
All right. I'll be checking that out. Thank you for the suggestion. All right. Well, while you're at your great big notepad of everything there, Stephanie, what's your second pick?
So I'm torn, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do Big Trouble in Little China.
Ooh. Yes.
We got oodles of special effects possibilities. We can go into the lore. We can fully resurrect Lopan. We can, sky's the limit.
Yeah, that is a great pick.
Thank you. Yeah. And thank you to you, Grandazier 12.
She wins.
Yeah, great pick. Yeah, that's so good. That would be amazing. So many opportunities for awesomeness in that.
So much world building. And the kind of supernatural critters you could put on the screen. Well, animation, as to Phil's point earlier, like podcasting, there's a lower barrier to entry for maximum awesomeness. And I think that's where it really shine.
And honestly, I didn't even think about this until just now because you brought up Big Trouble in Little China. But this would also lean towards something where you'd be able to reboot like the Street Fighter series.
Oh yeah.
And have that as an animated style, not like the video game animation, but have it a true animation style.
You could do like One Piece animation would be fun.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Just imagine how good because there outside of physical limitations, and there's the insertion of so much CGI that would have to be done to make a proper Street Fighter movie, or make a proper Mortal Kombat movie, or make a proper Good Trouble in Little China to match up with all the things that or Big Trouble in Little China rather, excuse me. Having an animation there would allow that to supersede those events because you don't have to worry about the physical limitations of the actor. It's all animated. Now you're just worried about the voice actor nailing their mark. So, Street Fighter and to Big Trouble in Little China. Oh, that would be awesome.
Andrew is coming in strong tonight.
He does. Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
Pickle brain.
Yeah, he and Brandon are a couple of our regulars, and they always bring it. They always bring good comments, for sure. Was there an anime? Oh, really?
Who's gonna go?
I had to have missed that one. I don't recall that at all. But I would definitely check that out.
Write that down.
Stephanie's like, and click.
Let me see what I get about.
All right,
I'm surprised you haven't turned one of your fingers into a pen.
Animated movie, 1994.
1994.
Yep.
What's it called again? I'm sorry.
Street Fighter 2, the animated movie.
Interesting. All right.
Oh yeah,
love it.
That's happening soon.
Brandon says, I think Indiana Jones should have an animated series. Actually, I'd be totally behind that.
Didn't they have a kid, like indie kid?
They did have
there was young Indiana Jones. It was a television series.
There wasn't,
but it was pretty good. Yeah, absolutely. Very much worth the watch. But it was very family friendly, very family oriented. I would love to see them do this and have Troy Baker continue to do Indy's voice. He's the one on their most recent indie game, The Great Circle. He voices Indy, and it's a very good Indy. So, but yeah.
So there is a Indiana Jones movie.
Animated from 2016. Now, is it a legit one? I don't know. Probably a fan made.
It's got a IMDb page.
No Time for Love. Dr. Jones.
It's from the Netherlands animator. Over the course, yeah. So it looks like it was his own thing.
Okay, yeah, that would
type thing.
I would think that if that had been released in 2016, I would have that would have hit my sniffer somewhere.
Yeah, so it was a fan made over 5 years.
All right, cool. All right, Phil, what's your number 2, man?
So my second one is the one that holds my heart dear because it's To the Stars. And I wear a brown coat every time I talk about this, and I wish I had my brown coat right now, but it would be Firefly Reignite. So it takes place it would take place exactly after the events of Serenity, right? So everyone's like they're just lifting off, Mal's driving with River right beside. It would be like a sci-fi Western animation, so kind of I'm thinking like somewhat like Arcane or like Final Space. Something in that vein of doing it.
Arcane would be awesome.
Yeah, and they're now dealing with the repercussions of the Alliance's secret being left out, even though that was supposed to be over like 4 seasons, but they had to rush it because whatever. But we can play out with that, and we can see a lot more. Yeah, we can even get like Mal's backstory,
flashbacks to the Civil War portion. Yeah,
hell yeah.
Okay, I forgive you. There's only one season.
14 episodes, Jesse. Make it happen. Chip, chop, chip.
Yeah.
14 episodes in a movie, and then you could cry like the rest of us that there's no more of it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think it would be...
cry every time you use a leaf blower.
Yeah.
Or see plastic dinosaurs.
Too soon.
But also you have all the stories as well. There's books out that you can adapt into animation. So like you already have a full season nearly already there. It's like I still don't understand why there's even Buffy animated shows you can do. Like Josh Whedon's universe is eternal. I actually, funny enough, the reason why Firefly again popped up in my head, there was a rumor that James Masterson was actually going to be joining the cast as Spike. He was
fantastic.
Yeah, it was supposed to be him in a bar with the crew showing up, and him saying, "More things change, everything stays the same, or nothing really changes." And it was supposed to be just a short cameo, and possibly him joining. So you have vampires in space. So there is that.
That would have been cool.
Everything about that phrase is delightful.
Exactly. Like what else is in space?
You had me at Spike, so
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so Firefly Reignite, that's my call. Make it happen. Give us Firefly in space.
Expanse.
Oh, I love the Expanse. The Expanse is amazing.
Yeah,
but it's not the same as Firefly. Firefly is such a different take on the future. It is like
I love Firefly. I'm gonna have to go watch it again tonight while I'm doing some paperwork.
I despise you.
All right, Kathleen, what's your number 2?
Okay, so after I just wanted to be vindictive and evil. So
the always the fun version of Kathleen.
Oh, spicy version is definitely everybody's favorite. As long as it's not aimed at them. Anyway, so I was looking at it too with the how do you take something that is already good and already loved and make it better? And I was thinking, Princess Bride is already really great. But could it be better animated? But only have the book animated.
Yes. Yeah.
So of course, the grandpa and the
kid
kid
are putting down.
But have the story be animated.
I have something here.
Questions.
Tim, you go first.
I got questions. Because to quote the estimable Carrie Ells, there's a shortage of perfect movies. It would be a shame to damage this one.
I agree.
And that is near that. Whenever I talk about a perfect movie, I always mention Princess Bride because it's nearly perfect in every way.
It is.
It's so good. But if we were to do an animated show or series on this, would you want the surviving voice actors to pick up their parts because they're all, the majority of the cast is still alive, or would you replace them with voice actors?
At least Mandy Patinkin I would keep because Mandy Patinkin.
Thank you. Okay. There's my
however, I do.
Yeah, Wallace Shawn.
The majority of them could come back. I think it'd be fun.
Okay, that was my biggest concern. I'm like, who are we going to have voice what? Because
the advantage there too of an animated version of that is if you've ever read the novel, there's all of these footnotes, and with an animation style, you can do a record scratch and have voiceover do that supplemental comedic material, and then right back to the action.
Passing the mantle of the characters would be keeping in the tradition of the Dread Pirate Roberts.
It's true. Here's my take, because everybody, if you know anything about the book, it's not the actual book. It's someone's transcribed the book and took out major parts of it, right? You could have, because we don't want to touch the original movie because it's, like Tim said, perfect. One of the perfect movies in existence. What happens if the animated series is people looking for the missing parts of the book?
Ooh.
So we're not touching the movie.
Oh, that could be fun.
So like kids go and like you could start with Ben Savage reading the book to his son. So you start with live action, right? And then the kid gets sucked into the story of trying to find the missing parts of the story, so that he can have the
Jumanji. That would be fun.
That's just my idea. And you could they could interact with characters from, the Princess Bride. So you're not touching the Princess Bride at all. They're just maybe interacting at certain scenes, like the dreaded pirate. He's at a bar or a tavern, and the kid runs in going, "Have you found this thing?" Doesn't realize he's talking with the dreaded pirate Roberts, whatever the frigging name is. Tongue twister and a half here. But it's like you want to add to the story. You don't want to just simply remake the story because it's perfect. So making it an animated version of like, okay, the kid's going for this adventure to find out more about it. He gets sucked into this world, kind of a la the book, not the one with the Macaulay Culkin, the librarian book where you get sucked in the book.
Oh, the Page Master.
Page Master, something similar to like the Page Master type thing. So you're adding more to it. I think,
that could be a lot of fun. Actually, I could see that. Yeah. And
like every time the show ends, it's the dad closing the book, like "Where's my son?" or something like that. So you get this really cool thing. Anyways,
what would be kind of cool for that though is that if they get sucked into it, you could see them, and then they could like have them like watching portions of the original movie. Like they're watching from the outside, from behind a tree, like they're sneaking around.
Exactly.
And then you could have clips of the movie in there, and then they would go back to hunting it down and seeing where the next missing section is. Like, oh, we got so close. We got to see this bit of the story, so we must be close to something.
But I think, too, that if they end up interacting with the characters, you then have to throw a fourth wall break in, having the characters go from the scene of the story that they're in to the kid interacting with them with the, "You're not supposed to be, what are you doing? Like, can't you see we're busy?"
But they could interact. Oh, so I'm going to jump and bring Harry Potter into this, the third book, the Time Turner, right? Where they can interact with themselves. They can interact with the scene, but the minute the scene ends, right, they have access to interacting with the characters, so it doesn't change anything of the original story.
Oh, that's a great idea.
They've tried beforehand, but they got hit with the invisible wall or something like that of the movie. So they learned that they can interact, but the minute the realism disappears, it turns back into animation,
Ooh,
they can
yeah.
interact. You know,
I love that. Be fun.
Stephen King's
Fun
Dark
conceit.
Tower, like Batman animation.
100%. I'm down for it.
That's a good
Make it happen.
suggestion.
That is one of the
Any-
great first lines. God, it's one of those things you wish you'd written.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's,
Tim
I
was
am
drinking
Granger.
a
I am
beer.
drinking Coors.
he's drinking
I
a
am
light
drinking a
beer
beer
for
tonight.
a light discussion. But yeah, I
I am
love.
drinking Coors banquet beer because we are having a great banquetful conversation.
I'm pretty sure it's because it's nearly water and you're trying to hydrate.
There's that too.
There is also that, and it's if it looks like my hair is sweaty, it's because it is. I'm out in my garage and there's no air conditioning out here,
And
it's
it is
Michigan, and
currently-
it's like 90 something degrees outside.
What-
It's stupid.
What is the beautiful weather in Michigan currently? On my side of the state, it is currently 90. Feels like 99.
That's pretty accurate. All right, so I'll go next. I'll give you my second one here. Yes, Tim, a toast to the working class women and men. Cheers. Absolutely.
Sunny D is an amazing drink. I stand by it. I want them to
There's-
make an alcoholic version of it. Now, Tim,
Yeah.
Tim,
Seltzer.
That is
They
the
did make
choice.
a Sunny D seltzer, and it was pretty good.
So yeah, there's lots of things you can add to Sunny D and make it fun. It's good on its own, but you can make it
Yeah.
fun. All right, so Kathleen, if I were to tell you my all-time favorite movie and all-time favorite movie series, what would I say?
Any musical ever.
No, I wouldn't say things that I discussed and would never watch. What did I say? That I would?
Let's see. I don't. Oh man, it's right on the tip of my tongue. I feel like it's something I should know. Oh right, Star Wars.
It's Star Wars. So, now
It's
typically,
Star
anytime I hear any mention of people thinking that we should reboot or redo the stories of the original trilogy, I am very much against it. They are not perfect movies. They have their issues. There are some serious plot holes. George Lucas was making these things up on the fly. There's no doubt about it. But I love them dearly, faults and all. However, what I want is a Clone Wars style animation that takes place around the time of The Empire Strikes Back. Because there's so much that happens between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi for Luke Skywalker to see his adventures and see what he's doing, see what's happening with him. And then I want the very same thing for the sequel trilogy between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, because we need to see what's going on with Rey. I very, very much think that would add so much to the story of what has happened in the Star Wars universe, what's going on and where. However, now with that being said, there's one more Star Wars series that I would love to see in an animated style setting. I want to see, now we've over the last couple of years, we've had a really great breakdown. There has been the Tales of the Empire, Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Bounty Hunter, the Tales of the Underworld is what they called it. I want to see a Star Wars animated series that focuses on the bounty hunters, their stories, who they're chasing, who they're capturing, why they're going after them fighting off the Empire and the rebels all at the same time, all these different things. Be honest, you want to see what goes on in Jabba's palace.
Oh, that's more me. I want to know what goes on in Jabba's palace. It looks like a fun place.
Han Solo's frozen all that time. They said that's all we need to know. Nope, not accepting that. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. I think that Star Wars is amazing where it's at. But I also see what I've also felt for over the last 10 years, that 8 years, however long it was since I argued with Kathleen and her friend about Star Wars animation at a
7
very
years.
heated,
No,
7 years? Okay.
8 years. It'll be 8 years.
8 years ago, had a very heated discussion about why Clone Wars sucked and it was only for kids, and I was so very wrong, and I will happily admit that every single time I was very wrong. Clone
And
Wars
we make
is
them
not
eat those words frequently.
You do, and I'm okay with it. But what I'm saying is, I think that we need something Clone Wars Rebels style in particular, and for each trilogy needs that style of show to help give exposition to the other things that are happening. Because when we leave Luke Skywalker at the end of Empire Strikes Back, he's getting repairs on his hand, and next thing we know, we see him in Return of the Jedi, and he's a Jedi. He's completed his training. He's done all these things. He's he's going off to fight the baddies. I would love to see how he got from here to here. How, what's happened. I like to know what makes people tick. I want to see why they're doing the things that they're doing. And so for me, having that type of show in somewhere that's set between, and holding true to the tradition that was set for the prequel trilogy, going between the first and the second, between the second and third movie might be the best way to do it. So anyway, I could go on and on and on and on and on. But yeah. Let's see. Side question. Wonder if Tim ever toyed around with a storyline for the time frames you talked about, a script. No, I haven't. So the things that I do write, Granger, I write for Couch Soup. We're going to talk about this more here in just a moment. I write for a website called Couch Soup, but that's the extent of my writing. I write nerd articles from a nerdy viewpoint. I am not good with dialogue. I would make George Lucas look like a freaking genius when it comes to dialogue writing.
And I think it's also important to remember that there are two things about the original series that just never get old. And the first is, jokes about Anakin killing the younglings. And the second is the younglings.
Yeah. So
one of these days, my daughter's actually going to get that joke, and it's going to be really sad.
So side note,
Phil,
I saw
are you okay?
panel.
Did I do 1d6 psychic damage there?
Oh, no, I'm used to it on these. I'm used to it on podcasts, getting the psychic damage. I just didn't think it would go that short.
Oh, get ready for another one. Here we go.
Short, really, really go short.
All right, so
on
there was a meme I saw the other day, and it was like a multi-panel thing. The top panel was Mace Windu and Anakin Skywalker talking, and Mace says, "You cannot marry Padme. Attachment is forbidden." And he says, "Well, Ki-Adi-Mundi has 4 wives," and he says, "Well, that's because we have extremely low birth rates." And the next panel is you see Anakin standing in front of the younglings, going, "Well, I guess we got to get rid of some of our younglings. We're overpopulated."
Mind you, they're all humanoid. They're all human-esque, not anything else.
Oh no, those kids were live.
And it was like Tim's daughter was in the hospital, and he messaged us with the Darth Vader's here. I'm like, they brought Darth Vader to a children's hospital?
So, long story short, Stephanie, you don't know this, but my daughter was in the hospital for 97 days back a few years back.
I'm so sorry. She doing okay now?
She, for the most part, yeah, she's still a teenager.
She's beautiful and wonderful.
But it's she has a condition called Guillain-Barré syndrome, so she'll have that for the rest of her life.
Gotcha.
But they sent, like, the local 501st sent a bunch of people in Star Wars cosplay to the hospital, and they sent Darth Vader to my daughter's room. And at first, my daughter and I were both like, "This is so cool! Oh man, that's Darth Vader! That's awesome!" And he was a tall dude, so he was really fit in the thing. And he had the big the box on his chest, and he was doing the breathing, the whole 9 yards. It was phenomenal. And then after he left, she's like, "I can't believe I survived that. I'm the best youngling ever." Yeah, that's my daughter. But okay,
your daughter is awesome.
You've raised a great child.
I love that girl.
Arngrim, I would totally watch that Star Wars animated series for the Thrawn trilogy. Heck yeah. Actually, both sets of the Thrawn trilogy, because you could have the before and afters. That's yeah, with Mara Jade and everything. Absolutely. Yes, I have seen Genndy Tartakovsky's version of Star Wars. Love the original, that he did the original version of Clone Wars, and then Disney redid it in their own style. But Gendy Tartakovsky did 2 seasons of it's called the 2D micro series. If you haven't watched it, very cool series. It actually makes General Grievous look very, very scary and very believable as a villain. Whereas in the movies, he's just a guy who coughs and waves around extra lightsabers. So yeah, she is pretty awesome. My kid is awesome. But
you had to get one of the 3 right.
There you go. Exactly. Kathleen, your child is watching the show tonight. I'll wait for you to explain later.
Can't be any worse than when she walked in while I was playing Five Nights. It's all good.
There you go. All right. We do have others, but we're running out of time. So we will have to say this is actually a really good topic. And I think this is something that could be picked up at another time. So we may have to have you guys back for a round 2 of this discussion if you're willing. So, so just real briefly before we go on anywhere. So guys, go check out Good Morning Evildoers. There's a note down in the show notes down below. Stephanie's got a really cool pod there, and you guys can have some fun with that. And then also check out Phil. If you're looking to expand your reach and you need somebody who can help you understand what's going on in the world of podcasting, Phil Better is your dude. So check that out. Also, let's see.
So much.
Fun fact: Gennady is he is absolutely. He is the director of Samurai Jack and Dexter's Lab.
Crusher Convo. However, Tim probably can get you in contact with me.
Yeah.
If you want, just search at the Podcast Mogul on all social media, and you can DM me. I'll be more than happy to help anybody with their podcast.
I think you're also both part of the Cantina as well, so you should be able to find each other there too.
Yeah, I'll introduce you guys. I'll drop a nice to meet you message in Messenger. So
that was English.
Let's see. The story you wanted is right there with the story I want to do with Lando in that same time. Yeah. Oh, I remember that, Grants. You remember you talking about that? And yes, that would be fun to work in as well. Lando has a lot of things happen between Return of the Jedi and the sequel trilogy, so I would be absolutely down with that. Now, I mentioned before that I write for a website called couchsoup.com. Now, CouchSoup handles all things pop culture, sci-fi, video games, fantasy. You have it, you name it. We talk about it. But so recently, I was given from Apple TV Plus, I was given screeners for the show Murderbot. And I wrote a review for the series before it came out. And that's my article. But also with that has given me the opportunity to interview a few of the stars of the show. Now, this coming up this week, Wednesday, we're releasing the interview with Tamara Podemski. She is from Canada. And but check her out. She's an amazing actress. Her family history, by the way, and she talks about this. Her family history is amazing. Her mother is First Nations from Canada. Her father is an Israeli Jew. His parents came from Poland and escaped Nazi Poland in World War II. And she talks about all of that and how all of that has really impacted her, the role she chooses, why she does what she does. Not to mention, she is also a licensed and certified Krav Maga instructor. She can kick your ass 7 ways from Sunday and do it in several different incantations of acting styles. So she's really, really very cool. Now coming up next week, and I'm going to try and have this up on our Patreon channel within the next couple days. We're trying to get Patreon early access up even quicker than we have been. Typically, we've only been able to get out a couple days ahead of time, but John is also helping me get podcast back done. He's been able to jump back into editing, and it was a great conversation. She's just very, very cool. So we're trying to get our editing done a little faster, and if that happens, we're able to get these out to, if you're a paid member of our Patreon channel, only $3 a month, mind you, you get early access to every interview and all the cool behind the scenes stuff that you don't get to see anywhere else. So, there's some cool stuff out there. But so in the next week, we'll be showing Tatiana Jones. The W in her name is silent. Don't worry, I asked. but it's Tatiana Jones. She's been in Handmaid's Tale, Lost in Space, The 100, and now she's in Murderbot. And again, very cool. Another Canadian. Canadians are pumping out some awesome actors. But yeah, it's a really Murderbot has one of the most amazing casts, and also it's based on the book series called The Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells.
And Martha Wells is a hugely wonderful human being. She's down here in Texas and is part of sort of the Texas con circuit. Just a wonderful human.
Yeah, and if by chance she ever gets to see this, Martha Wells, would you please be on our show? I'd love to talk nerdy with you. I honestly, I would just be amazed if that would happen. So, actually, I have reached out to Gendy a couple different times. So far, it's been a not right now, but he hasn't said no. He has just said not right now. So I'll try him again. Thank you, Stephanie and Phil, for your time, insight, taking questions and commentary. Much appreciated. Stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. And of course, thank you, Kathleen and Tim, for hosting the stream. Much appreciated. Also, stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed.
Thank you,
will
man.
try.
Thank you.
Let's see. We got to see behind the scenes of Tim at his home when he was watching the Lions. Sign me up. I'm not saying we won't do. And here's the other thing. Some of the other things that we're trying to do is we're trying to get to a point where we're doing some other things. I'm going to start doing some live streaming of video games on the channel. I did a test run of Destiny 2 the other night. We'll be doing some Helldivers, some PUBG, some things like that, where there'll be opportunity for you guys to be able to participate in the chat and things like that. But yeah, I think that's it. Any parting thoughts, Stephanie, before we say goodbye?
No, I have a bunch of wild cards here if anybody want to talk TV. But as for now, just check out Good Morning Evildoers and go out there and be your worst self today.
I love it. All right. Good. Phil, any parting thoughts?
As I finish every episode of all my podcasts, always remember to invest in yourself.
Jolly good. All right. Kathleen, anything?
Oh, goodness. I mean, there are so many things, but June is Alzheimer's and Dementia Awareness Month as well. A lot of people know that my dad died from complications related to Alzheimer's in 2020. So it is a thing that is big in my family. It's a big thing that it means a lot to my heart. But go and check out Kimberly Williams Paisley has a bunch of information on her Instagram about how you can help fund Alzheimer's research and make it so that people don't have to do the long goodbye. It's not fun. It's not good for anybody.
All right, awesome. Cool. And all I have to say is, let's see, Kathleen, preach, Kathleen, I lost my grandma to Alzheimer's, my uncle to dementia.
You know, actually, I'm going to get back up on my little soapbox for a second here. Just a little one. I promise, it's a little one. Anytime anybody in your family finds out that they have cancer, Alzheimer's, whatever, get genetic testing. It is something that if somebody in your family does genetic testing, they pay for it. Within 30 days of their results, usually you can get your own done if you are an immediate family member. There are ways to make sure that you are safe. You can advocate for yourselves. I know that the American healthcare system sucks, but try to take care of yourselves. You need it. So, sorry.
All right. Very good. The only thing I have to say is remember, if you haven't already, sign up at fsfpopcast.com. Go to our contact page, sign up, give us your email address, because if you sign up, not only will we send you our monthly newsletter that Kathleen is working on. She knows, I promise.
Yeah.
But you'll have an opportunity to win these awesome Blu-rays and digital copies of movies and things that we get from time to time. So go sign up there. And like I said, if you don't win on this one, you'll have an opportunity to win in the future. So on that note, thank you, everybody. Yes, ma'am.
Don't eat Taco Bell when you have allergies. You don't want to sneeze and make a mess in your car.
And remember to spay and neuter your pets.
Invest in good upholstery cleaners.
Thanks for having me.
On that note, I think we're going to say goodbye. And
Bye, Tim.
make sure that you
Remember, if you're having a bad day, it could be worse. You could be a janitor to Taco Bell.
May the force be with you as you continue to live long and prosper. Goodbye.
Bye now.
Copyright 2025 FSF PopCast. Reference any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by FSF PopCast. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@fsfpopcast.com.